dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to all them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And then he goes on to give power to the beast and different things. And that's when you get into the mark. If you get a mark on your forehead, your hand, to buy and sell and all those things. But the point is, it's deception. Over and over. He's counterfeiting what God does. Let's keep going on here. I didn't write them down, so... Chapter 18. And I know it's hard to get context, especially in this book, but I'm trying to make a point here about things that are coming on the earth. The thing that is assaulting the creation of God, mankind. Okay? Verse 23. Like I said, I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to give context if we be here too long. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Okay? So here is sorceries, nations being deceived. Chapter 19. Verse 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive in the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. You know, one day they're going to be taken care of, aren't they? See, that was verse 20, chapter 19. Chapter 20, that was the great battle there, Armageddon. Chapter 20, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, shut him up, set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed for a little season. Satan gets bound up for 1,000 years. And then Jesus is going to rule, what we would call the millennium, right? There's going to be a rule of Jesus, the rule of Jesus. But if you read on, you see that after a while, Satan's going to reappear, and there's going to be some people, I just don't like the way Jesus is running things. I just don't like the way that he's ruling me. You might say, well, how could that possibly happen? Because Jesus is going to be physically here, ruling and reigning. How could that happen? How could people be so dense that they wouldn't know from the Scriptures what the role he's playing and what's going to happen, the culmination of the ages? Why? Why wouldn't they know it? Because they're deceived. There's a deception. And you might ask that question now. Well, we believe in Jesus. We believe that he's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He's my Lord right now. But do we sometimes veer off? Have you ever known a believer to backslide and go his own way? Why would they do it? It's a deception. Believe me, a backslider is a deceived person. When you sin, you're being deceived. You might think, I knew I was doing it. That's part of the deception. You think that you know what you're doing. In Hebrews chapter 3, he warns about being deceived through the hardness of sin. Sin is a deceiver. Sin will deceive you. Paul in Romans, he talks about how sin deceived me. And by the commandment, it slew me. Sin took the commandment, and it brought death into my life. Well, does that mean the commandment's bad? No. The law is good, and the commandment is holy and just and good. Nothing wrong with God's law. Where's the problem at? It's us. And that'll be another arrow here in a little while. Well, probably not today, but I want to finish my thought here. Same chapter, chapter 20. Look at verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to, what's he doing? Deceive the nations. You know what? He's old card, isn't he? We're not ignorant of his devices. And he goes about to do what he does best, and that's deception. That's all he does. He does not speak the truth. He always speaks a lie. Jesus once speaking to the Pharisees in John chapter 8, he says, "You are of your father the devil, and his lusts will you do." He says the devil was a liar from the beginning. There's no truth in him. So when the devil comes to us, or his demons or whoever he uses, you know it's a lie. And he wants to get you off your eyes off of Jesus. He wants to get you to believe a lie. That's what he wants. He wants you to, even as a believer, he wants you to think that, hey, I can play around with sin a little bit. I can dabble in it a little bit, and I'll be okay. I'm going to be okay. God forgives. That's true. God forgives. But I want to tell you something, and this comes from the book of Galatians. It says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever man sows, that shall he reap." If you're here today and you think that you can play with sin, can a man take fire to his bosom and not get burned? No way. Because you know what? One day we're all going to stand before the judgment seat of Christ. If you're a believer, you'll stand before the judgment seat of Christ. The unbelievers, the wicked, the vile will stand before the great white throne. We'll stand, and you are going to be judged for what you've done in the body. Over and over again it talks about what you've done in the body, whether it be good, whether it be bad. If your name's up on my list, the bad list, or whether it be good.